Hey everyone, Shawn Clement here at the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center, headquarters for Wisdom in Golf, and we have an amazing new training aid to talk to you about. I don't talk about these things too often, but this one in particular is pretty darn special. It's called the GeForce training aid. Now they make these in 7-iron, wedges, and putters. And I recommend you first start out with the wedge because you want to start off with some very smooth swings, and just to start things off, it's going to be very, very much impossible for you to force this club into action, right? So we talk about how there's a very specific kinetic chain in the golf swing that's activated by your focus on the target. But many of you are still trying to position the club to meet the ball. Now, if you're doing that, you are definitely pushing on the club from the top of the swing. The ones that talk to you about, you got too much right hand. For those of you, who think or feel, or somebody's been telling you that you're pushing too hard with your trail hand, or you're too much right hand for a right-handed person, or too much right shoulder, well, this is a tool that's going to help you out quite a bit. So we talked about, and you'll see in the two videos leading into this one in particular, we talked about predicting solid contact, and we talked about having the right distance between you and the ball. So in this particular instance, this is your ball and a string. So if I had a ball and a string and I allow that ball to just swing freely around my shoulder socket, notice how that club bottoms out in the same place every time. So if I allow it to, now, if I decide I'm going to push on it, well, what happens if you push on it, you load the shaft, and then the shaft releases too soon. Well, now the low point is now here, and as you get to the ball, the club's already moving into the air. So if you try to push on it, it's very easy for you to whiff the darn thing. So what we're trying to do, when we take that posture and distance between you and the ball, we're going to simply let the weight of the arms fall. Now, what does that mean? Well, you could try the exercise with me again. You'll see a video entitled Arms and Body Timing, a real oldie but a real goodie. We've been on the air now for 10 years with YouTube, so a lot of the things that we do ring very true from then to today, and a lot of the positional stuff that we talked about in the past, we're ironing them out by just simply staying on the proper task, and that takes care of the positions. Well, here, if you take your arm and hold it out to your side and let it fall, notice how there is no need to push. If you push, you hurt yourself. So when you let it fall, the arm basically wants to swing freely from that shoulder socket, but it can't because you are in the way. So you bend forward, let the arms hang. Arm out to your side, let it fall in front of you. Notice how the arm still can't make its way that way. Notice the upper arm is going to hit my rib cage, and then I'm going to slap myself. So how do I get the arm to continue going that way freely? Well, I have to pivot out of the way. So here comes the arm, and my only command is don't let the arm hit me. So notice how my body glides out of the way. It glides from the ground up. It uses the ground, so I'm using the ground with my legs, and I'm allowing the ground, right? So I'm using the ground to get the body to pivot, and then because I'm connected to the ground, the body turns out of the way on time. My arm gets to pass by me and toward the target. Do the same thing with the lead arm. Let it fall past you. Don't let it hit you. There it is. So don't let the left arm hit you, don't let the right arm hit you. Out of the way, out of the way. So now you've got that ball and a string. You've got no obstacles in front of it. Now, when you take it back, at one point your trail arm is going to have to fold. So as it folds, it's going to load up those wrists. Have a look at loaded arm, Shawn Clement, just so you understand how that works. Now, as I allow this arm unit to fall now, notice gravity is pulling this way on the club. You can really feel it with this particular club. So I allow my arms to fall. My arms fall first, and then you're going to feel gravity pull down on that club so that the club head falls second. Now, when the arms fall first, the handle leads. Well, that's why it's going to be really important for you to close that face. most people don't close the face. They have that nice square face at address. Well, a square face at address with a neutral grip is off the planet to the right. You've canceled your trip. You've canceled this particular sequence. Why? Because now the brain feels the need to square everything up, and you've just ruined that sequence, and you're forcing yourself to push with that right hand. Imagine that. So, if I close the face and I lead with the handle, notice the face isn't closed anymore. So it's really important that you see weak grip or strong grip, Shawn Clement, and see grip and compression, Shawn Clement, okay? So I have a very closed face or a very strong grip, one of the others fine. So I take my backswing. Right arm folds, wrist hinge. Let my arms fall. The arms fall past my body, and now gravity pulls the club down. Well, look at that. My club face is slightly open to square. Now the ball can move in the direction I want it to go. So, gather, let it fall. And off the ball goes, nice and straight. There's a beautiful little 75-yard pitch shot. So all we're doing is we're using the weight of the arm club unit to cut the dandelion stem. So see, here's my, take those rubber tees. Gather, let the arms fall past the body. Don't let them hit the body. So notice my right arm still not hitting me, still not hitting me, still not hitting me. Look at that gorgeous lag. Still not hitting me, still not hitting me. So notice now the club head at one point catches up with the hands. You're left with amazing lag, beautiful timing in the swing. Because if my arms are going to fall past me and toward the target, the brain's got to go get the ground, use the ground to get the body out of the way, and then I get this beautiful release after the fact. See, sequence your sports swing properly, Shawn Clement. Okay, so we're bringing some nice videos into the fold here for you. So, I get my posture, I get my distance to ball, I see my dandelion stem, and I'm going to use the weight of my arms and club to cut through that dandelion stem. Gather, let it fall. Beautiful, straight, right where I want it, 75 yards. Fantastic. So, let's look at the drills now. If we look at perpetual motion drill, many of you have had trouble doing that perpetual motion drill. So if I take my arm club unit and I let it fall in both directions, let it fall into a release, let it fall into a release. You'll see golf's dual pendulum, Shawn Clement. We talk about how pendulum number one, if I only had one arm, my pendulum point is my shoulder socket. I bring both arms together to take my grip. That pivot point now, that pendulum point, is the sternal notch where the two clavicles join the rib cage. I bring them together. Now, the second pendulum point is my wrists. So you notice how the hinging and unhinging and rotation of my wrists create a pendulum point. So, backswing, pendulum point number one. Then the right arm folds and the wrists hinge and activates pendulum number two. Arms fall around pendulum number one. Then gravity releases the club head around pendulum number two. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I get this beautiful release in both directions. So I'm letting the weight of this club, and obviously this is going to accentuate the weight of the club head, and I'm feeling how the weight of the club head is releasing me in both directions. So now that I've got a very predictable release, if I let it be, and I'm not trying to place it, here are my dandelions in disguise. I start with my perpetual motion. Let it fall, let it fall. So now the brain sees, wow, look, it's passing right there. I can see the blur. Let it fall, let it fall, let it fall. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 100 yards. So this is a 54-degree sand wedge, and I'm basically hitting those to my 100-yard marker right now with zero effort. I'm letting gravity release me in the direction I want that ball to go, and I'm just listening to the weight of the instrument, and I'm letting the weight of the instrument release me. Big, big difference compared to make it hit the ball, make it hit the ball. That's completely different. So anytime you are in a manipulative state with this, it'll make you pay. If you allow it to release you, it'll work beautifully. So in that perpetual motion drill, fantastic. Now for chip shots, oh my gosh, if any of you have the chip yips, here's your tool. So we allow the weight of that arm club unit. So go to my yips video, and you'll see how we just allow gravity to cut the dandelion stem. If I push, nasty. If I allow the arms to just fall through the dandelion stem, pure bliss on a stick. So I feel the weight of the instrument and my arms. I'm only dealing with one pendulum point now. I just allow that to fall around that pendulum point. I got just gorgeous contact, beautiful distance control. Don't have to ever worry about, you know, anything happening because I've given the control away to gravity. It's none of my business anymore. So once I've got the right distance between myself and my ball, so notice how everything is just passing right there. Bring the machine, see my dandelion stem. I'm just going to let gravity cut through the dandelion stem. Look at that. Beautiful contact. Nice direction. Come on, I hear you. Nice direction. And there's nothing for me to do because everything's in place here. So if I did that, I'd be in trouble. Now I have to physically manipulate the club to stay on that line. Here, I can't let it swing. There, that's where gravity wants to place it. Look at that. Bring that over. Let gravity cut the stem again. Woo! Perfect contact. Enjoy, you guys. Have fun with the GeForce. Tell them Shawn sent you, okay? So, you know, I get some brownie points. And these guys are in the UK, and their prices are very, very reasonable right now, especially that the pound, since Brexit, has taken a beating. So take advantage of it.